where we share my personal experiences as employees with the USPS and NALC. The opinions, stories, and insights expressed in this video are solely our own, based on our individual knowledge and experiences, and do not represent the USPS, the NALC, or any other organization. This content is for entertainment, informational, and discussion purposes only. Viewers are encouraged to consult qualified professionals for advice tailored to their situations. I am exercising my rights to free speech under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. While I strive for accuracy based on my experiences, I make no guarantees regarding the completeness or timeliness of the information shared. Viewer discretion is advised, and any actions taken based on this content are at your own risk. If you enjoy the video, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive in.
Mic check. Mic check. Yeah, okay. We here for another day. You know what I'm saying? We here for another day. We here for another day. I appreciate everyone that was responding, DMing me and sending me questions and things like that. Again, we will be attempting to be back regular in attendance, but because of the possible mismanaging, in my personal opinion, pay attention to the disclaimer. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of mail. It's a backlog of mail. Okay. So we're gonna be addressing mainly 1 to 2 to 3 things in this video. You see the title, why mismanage now? Okay. That's the main question. Why mismanage now? Okay. And we're gonna give our informed opinion, right? On what I think, I believe, my personal opinion, based on how things look now. People who don't know me, again, I'm a very wanting to be knowledgeable person. Okay, I like knowledge. I like information. I like hearing new things, new ideas. I like seeing, oh, what's the concept for this? I love the concept for that. What's the idea for this? What's the future of this? I just like information, right? Not all information entertaining, but some is. And some is very informative, whether you believe it affects you or not, right? So I'm the type of person that just love information. So in loving information, you tend to pay somewhat close attention to your surroundings because you want to know what's going on and sometimes why it's going on around you in various settings, right? Not just at work, just in life, in your house, when you sitting in the park. Why he doing that? Why she doing that? Why she running so fast? Why you just paying attention? Like why his dog not on the leash? Why this? Why that? Why this going on? What's the dang, that sun look pretty close today? Why that do that like that? You know what I'm saying? You just be wondering like, what's going on here, right? And then your previous knowledge that might help you in a situation like, oh, okay, I remember reading something that said, okay, maybe that's why this is happening. Maybe that's why that's happening to a degree. No, not no type of scientist on no type of scientist type time. Not at all, right? just aware and paying attention to things, right? So one part is what I plan. I don't have a script, right? I don't do scripts. It's all off the top, right? I get a concept, an idea, put it in motion, then I record that, right? So again, if you new here, make sure you hitting that follow button. We are live on Twitch. We are live on YouTube right now. L Nameless is the channels for both. And we are live on Sidekick right now as well. If you don't know what Sidekick is, it's a crypto-based blockchain streaming platform that's similar to YouTube, but like with more Web3 and crypto based. Okay, it's called Sidekick.fans. You can go over there, check that platform out. It's gonna be growing huge, right? Just a lot of people over there now. Huge. You see their Discord is huge. Sidekick.fans, right? So part of this is going to be just a general awareness to pay attention to why some things might be happening. Again, my personal opinion. In the post office, the mismanaging system of mismanaging, and I tell you what we consider mismanaging, or what craft employees is deeming or calling the term mismanagement, right? And then another part, we're going to aim towards the carriers themselves, right? And then another part we're going to aim towards, that's part of the carrier part, aim towards the customers of the postal service. Okay. Cool. Mismanagement. Okay. What we call mismanagement is the misuse of the contract, right? The misuse of the contract is what, again, craft. Right. There's no official term of that I know of in documentation. But the mismanaging comes from typically the breaking of the contract or violating the contract. Craft deems that mismanaging. Now, in extreme circumstances, management is allowed by the contract to mismanage, right? Typically, from my personal experience, my personal knowledge, and again, I don't know everything. I was under the assumption that mismanaging or violating the contract typically only comes, or for the most part, comes around to get the mail and packages delivered, right? So, in the instance of half your station don't show up to work one day for whatever reason, let's say you have 30 routes in there and only 15 carriers in there today, then to attempt to get majority of out, you might say, hey, everyone roll back your flats. Flats is your magazines, to a degree paper. So if you have third bundles, papers, Uline books, things of that nature, your oversized letters, those things are caseable items. They would typically say, or could typically say, hey, instead of everyone spending another hour and a half to 2 hours of casing the oversized letters, just take your DPS, which is the main pre-sorted mail that comes from downtown, right? And your local offices, we don't sort mail, okay? I said that before, but let me reiterate, we don't sort mail in your local office. Your local office is where you go buy stamps and go send off letters, send off packages. They don't sort mail and process mail in those stations. If did, your station will be way bigger than what it is. One sorting machine wouldn't even be able to fit in those buildings, okay? So that's not where you sort and process mail at your local stations. Mail comes pre-sorted from, in our neck of the woods, Milwaukee County, from our downtown location. That's on St. Paul. That's the distribution. It's also headquarters. It's a distribution plant inside of there. Okay. That mail, for the majority, gets processed and sorted and sent to your local station, right? Where we get it as carriers, supervisors, the local management team, the local clerks, or whatever the case is, they get it, and then they just sit it on the racks for each route, right? It's already in order, and they always have that route on it already. So majority of mail that you're getting, probably 90%, 85, 90% is already in order. Your carrier doesn't process or sort that mail, right? What we do end up having to kind of put in order by our routes, what we call casing, is mail that the machine kicks out. So sometimes that can be a few letters, and then the oversized mail that the machine can't sort through, which is like where you get like big envelopes, oversized manila envelopes. When you get pictures in the big envelopes, your magazines don't fit through there. So think of anything that's like magazine size, or things that have multiple pages is pages in it. The machine is just gonna rip that. It's gonna rip all the pages off. It don't recognize that. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna that stuff don't go through the machine, so it goes straight to the station. And we got to put that in order of how our route is, and then we just pick that, grab that with the packages, and go. The clerks in the stations only, as far as sorting goes, is sorting packages. Right? They scan the packages, they put them in the pumpkins, what we call these kind of like big totes or whatever for the carriers, and they sort the packages by each route. Okay. That's all that happens in your local station. It's a delivery facility, not a sorting and processing plant. Okay. So with that description out the way, so we get there. There's only a handful of us, 2 handfuls of us, or whatever the case is. What's going on, everybody? Um, Again, if you leave your questions, I'll try to get to questions. I try to respond live if I can, whatever the case is, and then after this has been up for a couple of days, I'll go over any comments left in the comment section, anything you want me to talk about, anything you have questions on, anything you need to be informed of or aware of, anything you looking to get more information about just coming to your station or your neck of the woods in the future. Put it in the comment section below. Okay, put it in the comment section below. After it's been up for a couple of days, a few days before my next episode, or before our next episode, we'll try to go through the comments, get some questions up out of there, you know what I'm saying, and put that on the next episode. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Dre voice. We'll put that on the next episode. Okay. So put everything you can in the comment section below. Make sure you follow us on El Nameless on Twitch, and of course subscribe on YouTube, but definitely leave your comments below for both channels. Or you can also go watch us on sidekick.fans, although currently your messages won't go through on Sidekick Fans. I can't see those not unless I actually go over to the video on Sidekick Fans to pull those videos. So y'all can leave comments over there if you watching the stream from there, but it won't be in the video. And again, I got all the comments live in the video. Okay. So hopefully we can also help each other when we are not around. Other people in the comments can help each other as well. But we'll definitely try to make sure that we attempt to help. Okay. There is more platforms coming. Besides just the streaming, eventually we will have a Discord. Eventually there will be a Reddit, and so on and so forth. We're working on some things, some Web3 things, and some cryptocurrency things. A lot of stuff to benefit carriers and the craft employees and blue collar workers in general. So there's a lot going on. So stay tuned for all that. Okay. So with that said, why the mismanaging going down now? Okay, so if let's handful, 2 handfuls, 3 handfuls, half your station show up or whatever, they could say, hey, you know what I'm saying? Instead of casing the oversized letters, we're going to roll that back because we're trying to get as much out as possible, and going by the workforce and the work that's in the office, we're not finna get everything done. So what we can do is try to get the bulk of the most important things done, which is the DPS and packages, right? So you got to say, hey, let's cut flats, roll that back. If you got third bundles, like your advertisements, what we call papers, red plums, whatever you call it in, whatever you at, things like that. Let's roll that stuff back. Get your DPS, which is the bulk of all the mail, grab the packages and go. You will have overtime or whatever the case is on whatever the case, and it's going to be DPS and packages on that as well to try to cover as much as we can. So that's how you do that. But that's violating the contract is using Article 3, but you're doing it in the way to attempt to get the mail and packages done. Okay? Now, sometimes in this video, you just hear me say mail, and you don't hear me put a distinguisher on packages separately. I'm still talking about packages, right? Because I'm talking about all mail. Anything with postage is we consider as mail, okay? So why the mismanaging now? Okay, my personal opinion. My personal opinion. And my personal opinion is money, right? Money. Make sure. Let me notate this in the comments right quick for everybody that come forward. Leave comments below, please. All right, let's pin that. Okay, let's pin that. Cool. Um, the mismanagement, my personal opinion, is a financial. It's multiple things intertwined, but it's a financial. To me, currently in this current state of why we mismanaging now. To me, it's someone stealing money. Someone's attempting to steal money. Right? That's my personal opinion. Right? The system is broken and it's on management. My personal opinion again, check out the disclaimer at the beginning of the video, is to, in my personal opinion again, to steal money. There's no other way to say it. I'm trying to think of a different way to say it, but it's when I tell you what I'm seeing, right, is it can't be anything other than like fraud to a degree, right? But I'll leave your comments in the comment section below, right? So this is what's happening, in part, and there's a large scale things that's happening, not just in our district, not just Midwest. From what I'm hearing, is nationwide. All right, nationwide is by your side. Nationwide. Is the post office in the red, and there's attempted changes to be made? Yes. Right. So no knock to that. Right. The post office in the red as far as making money. Right. It don't make enough money for the money it spends to run itself. So it's in the red. So if it costs $80 million a year, but we only make $75 million a year, then we negative $5 million somewhere, right? You can't keep running like that unless you're going to get bailouts, right? Because if it costs $80 million, it costs $80 million. So that means we $5 million short somewhere. So now going into the next year, where's you $5 million short at, right? You don't want to say you can't pay people or can't do this or can't do that because you don't have the money, right? Now, when the military, when the post office originally separated from the government, it had a stash put up of a lot of money, right? So my opinion on this is I believe we're going into the red, but we're covering it from that pool of money that won't be there forever. And I don't know how much there now, right? But like any business, you can't continue to run in the red, let alone some millions or billions, right? So, so something does need to change, right? But at the same time, it's the management team that's responsible for the budget and making money is all not craft job, right? So if you think of a construction site, you got people that do the planning, you got people that does the budget, you got people that does the business connections. On the construction site is your people, your regular construction workers that operate graders, scrapers, Hayeks, which is hydraulic excavators, bobcats, bulldozers, dump trucks, all that stuff, right? They're not in charge of the budget. They're not in charge of the business connections. They're not in charge of the planning. That's not their job. Their job comes after you, the other side, right? Management side did their job. Then my job come into play on where I fit in at, right? Management has a department I don't know what the department is called of the post office, but their job titles, I believe, is called territory representative. They're in charge of getting business and drawing business up for the post office, right? If we're and it's gonna seem weird, but if we're losing business, if we don't have business, if we're drumming up new business, I'm trying to find out what are these people actually getting paid to do at this point in time. If the mail has been going down for decades, but we're paying a whole group of people or department to make business, to drum up business, to create these things, I'm not understanding what's going on, right? Are they not being paid? Are they being garnished? Are they being fired? Could be, right? But management is in charge of that, right? Just like management in charge of the budget. Now, speaking of the budget, somehow, some way, don't know how long ago, but someone thought that if the post office is running smooth and everything is flowing, right? People getting off at a reasonable time and business is booming and things like that, then management will get bonuses, right? 4, 5, 10,000 plus more, depends on your position in the post office at the time. Management gets bonuses, right? I don't know why the two is tied together. Fast forward, I've seen stations try not to order water during the summer because someone is telling them that, hey, you already at your budget or you too close to your budget. So, you know what I'm saying? Hold off on buying water for your station, even though it's 100 degrees outside, because of the budget. Why? Because if you so far under the budget, y'all can get bonuses. Hey, put off ordering these things. Hey, prolong ordering these things. Or some people putting in the order, and then the next step is not being approved fast enough. It's just sitting there, and you wonder, why is it sitting there? My station needs these things. The carriers need these things. The clerks need these things so the mail can move. Why is it just sitting there? All right, why is someone not approving it? That all ties to people's bonuses. Only in management though, because craft employees, which is your clerks and mail handlers or material handlers, we really call them mail handlers, truck drivers, and the carriers don't get bonuses, right? So this is all supervisor and up. I don't know if HR is a part of that or whatever the case is. I think those are some type of clerks or whatever the case is, but you would say supervisors and up. EAS that I know of gets bonuses and up, right? So, in my personal opinion, we got to a position where it's almost like faking it till you make it, right? The system is not running well. So let's pretend it's running well so we can get bonuses, right? You tucking a lot of stuff away. These are all my personal opinions. Tucking a lot of stuff away to make things seem a certain way so you can get bonuses, right? Now, grievances in your station, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, but it's from my understanding, is also tied to your station's budget. Probably your station or your district's budget. I would assume it would be station, but let's go, it's tied to the budget. Okay? With it being tied to the budget, management a long time ago tried to halt on paying grievances. Now let's go into what a grievance is. A grievance is a violation of your contract, right? You got the management side, you got the union side, and they have an agreement on the contract. And that contract is what that group of employees go by, right? That's that group of employees contract to the post office through the union, right? Cool. When that contract is violated, then a grievance happens. To settle that grievance and make the contract whole again, a remedy has to take place. Sometimes that remedy comes in the form of monetary value, right? So extra $25, $50, whatever the case is. Okay. So what has been happening is management has been prolonging settling grievances. Okay. Now, from the union side, when managers refuse to settle or meet on grievances to settle the grievances, then they file what is then called a non-compliance, right? Which is another type of grievance or different type of grievance, right? In a non-compliance, the value is separate grievance, but incorporates the original grievance, right? And gives like you can ask for like an extra whatever, $20, $25, whatever percent value increase based on the non-compliance that you didn't pay the original grievance in a timely manner, right? So typically a grievance is paid in 2 weeks. You should see it on your next check, depending on how close that grievance happened and settled to the end of the pay period. So if you don't see it on the next check, you should be seeing it on the check after that. Okay. So what happens is instead of paying the grievance, they hold off on meeting on the grievance, right? So they don't have to get in a situation to settle. Now, the grievance still stays there. It doesn't go away. If you violate the contract, you got to violate the contract. The grievance process is to remedy that and fix the violated contract, right? So it don't go away just because you try to ignore it. Then what happens is they file a non-compliance. The union does. And then that grievance, if it's a monetary value, then that grievance goes up. So imagine having 10, 20, 30, 100, 200, 1,000, 3,000 of these things happening and not being settled. And then the remedy is not being handled. And then non-compliances are going up because you refusing to meet and settle the grievances in 2 weeks, in a month, non-compliance after non-compliance after non-compliance after non-compliance. So now the value is going up. A $25 grievance, $50 grievance, some months later could be a couple $100, a few $100, could be $1,000. And you could be having a lot of these grievances. If you look at the last video for our district alone, we found out that we have 44,000 grievances at step B. Step B, I believe, is like arbitration level, right before arbitration. I'm not a steward, but I believe it's somewhere in there, right? That's so pretty much they're just waiting to be settled. They don't went above the supervisor and went above not supervisor, went above the in station level union steward, and then went above, I believe, that next level possibly, and it's not being settled. Cool. Now they're still going to be following those non-compliance, and the value of those grievances is going to be going up, right? Look at this. Now all that money is supposed to be coming out the budget. Management, though, still getting grievances. How they getting grievances when you owe thousands and thousands and thousands, possibly, of dollars in grievances that's coming out your budget. So they got to be putting you over, right? They tuck that away off the books. It's on the books, but they refuse to settle it, right? In turn, when they look like they're still under their budget, they're getting bonuses when they really are over the budget and shouldn't get a bonus. To me personally, that's where fraud comes in at. That's where someone is stealing money. Okay? So let's just say in 6 months you gave somebody a $5,000 grievance, but you gave it to all of the supervisors and all your managers, and then all your CSIMs or OICs / postmasters. You gave that to all of them. And let's say that ended up being $1 million, right? Just to find out when they paid the grievances that they was all over all those months. They was over the budget, right? But you already gave these people $1 million. Do you take the $1 million back? Does management get it back? Do they get penalized for it? Right? Because to me, you stole, right? You accepted money under false pretenses. You're doing things crookedly in an attempt to get a bonus, right? That's stealing. Listen, I'm just going to put makeup on it, make it look good. Then they're going to give me $10,000. They're going to give me $5,000. They're going to give me extra $20,000 or whatever it is. And then someday I'm going to pay the grievance. Or by the time it's time to pay grievances, I'm retired already. And that's going to fall on the next person. What happens with that person that retired that created $2 million, $3 million, $4 million worth of grievances, and now they retired, right? So the system is corrupt currently, right? And now you see the post office trying to squeeze everything out of craft, right? Let's try to cut routes out the stations. Let's try to cut positions. Let's try to cut this. Let's try to cut that. You know what I'm saying? And then try to operate on fumes, right? And the operation not working. So now this is where you see delayed mail, let's say at the station level, right? So currently they're doing route adjustments, and they're supposed to do route adjustments in a team with the union. Management is, right? So they're supposed to work together, go over the routes, try to determine how many routes that they can cut out of a station without it running very poorly, right? To keep it, because it still has to run efficient. Okay. So what's happening in a lot of areas is management is not working with the union to cut out routes. They're not listening to the union's input on cutting out routes. They're just going off what they want to cut out of a station, right? And they're just so pretty much doing whatever they want to do, right? So now you have routes that's not at 8 hours, and every route's supposed to quote unquote be at 8 hours. That's at 9 hours, 9.5. It's at 10 hours, some 11 hours. Some is way too long, right? And they still trying to tell you, nah, it's 8 hours. You should be able to get it done in 8 hours or 9 hours, or whatever the case is. And it just ain't happening, right? So now you as the customer, you mad because you're not getting your mail. And you might be thinking it's the carrier. Now, on the side note, some carriers are trash. Not all carriers are created equal, right? But in the current state, a lot of routes are overburdened. It's the term we use. Too much mail, too much packages, too many blocks, too many stairs for one route, and the person is getting tired. Right? Cool. So what's happening now is a carrier, just use for example, carrier might not be able to get that route done in 8, and I might be restricted because I might be dealing with an injury. So I only got 8 hours, but you gave me a 10-hour route. So then I got to bring back 2 hours. So now there's 2 hours of people who not getting their mail currently that's supposed to get handed off to somebody else. But the other person that's supposed to take it and do it that day, he's already overburdened. He or she is already overburdened. So now they can't complete that overtime, right? So then that don't get done. From the customer side, you might assume it's just the carriers not doing their job, not doing that, not, you know what I'm saying? And you don't know that it's really management. It's really management is mismanaging the routes and mismanaging the volume. Okay? You don't know that though. You don't see that. Now, my personal opinion is if for carriers, we should be telling the customers. I'm telling the customers, hey, call the station. This my supervisor name. This my manager name. This my CSOM name. This my OIC name. Right? Call. You could also attempt to call Consumer Affairs. Let them know your gripes. Give them those person names as well. Right? I don't know how much this can do, but the next county or state election or whatever the case is, you need to be talking to your mayor, your governor, your whoever, and say, hey man, what we doing about our postal service? And trying to get some information. Right? Well, I ain't voting for you because I'm missing mailing packages and ain't nobody doing nothing. Right? In this case, that quote unquote ain't nobody doing nothing, the people in charge are the people that's violating. Where's the oversight for management for messing up? Right? Where's the oversight for management? Where's the third party that comes in play to management? It's like it's just happening and people are turning their back and it's like, dang, are you getting bonuses too? My personal opinion. Are you getting bonuses too? Or are you getting paid off? Like, what's going on here? That's what it make you think, right? We just signed another contract not too long ago for new postal vehicles. But everybody never got the last postal vehicles. So why would we sign another contract for another postal vehicle? And these contracts be billions of dollars. You know who made those deals? Management made those deals of billions of dollars. And people still don't have the vehicles. I remember when I came in 2019, right? They was saying everyone supposed to be getting the ProMasters. The ProMasters would be like the oversized vans, not the little box trucks. Those are LLVs and FFVs, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, not the little box. They look like go karts, like refrigerators on wheels. Not those. Those things been obsolete for 10 years. I think they was meant to be 25 years, and I think they've been on the streets for 35 years. Really, they expired like 10 years ago, if not more than 10 years ago, and they still on the street. You know why they still on the street? Management. The vehicles are dangerous, right? They come out of park, e-brake don't work. A lot of things don't work on the vehicle. Prone to just come out of park on their own, right? They expired a long time ago. Shouldn't even be on the streets. Things are dangerous to drive, to operate. Yet they still on the street. And you know who allowed them on the street and allow them on the street and allow us to operate them knowing they're dangerous or drive them to knowing they're dangerous is management. Right? But again, I say, we supposed to have the ProMasters when I first came in. When I came in, we had the vans, right? The Dodge Caravans. And the Caravans was getting phased out. So I don't know how long they had the Caravans before I was here. But the Caravans was getting phased out. Cool. So we was leaving the caravan stage, and it was like 3 different caravans at the time. So I'm not sure how long they had those or how many different contracts or variations, but I've seen at least 3, right? You got your van that has the all white sides, which you can just see through the back and the front. Then you got the ones where you got the windows on the sides. And then there's another one. I can't remember what's the difference, but then there's another one. But they all the Dodge Caravan. So when I came in, we were supposed to get in the ProMaster, it's like the oversized van, right? Kind of like the vehicles you see Amazon drive before the very newer vehicle that you see, right? So everyone was supposed to get those. Now I was at a station and eventually we all got those. Then I went to a station that didn't have those. They had like 2 or 3, and for the most part, everything was still vans, right? And now this is like 3.5 years ago. And I'm like, how do we still got places that don't have the ProMasters? Why do we still got vans? Went to another station, Titonia station. It still had vans at the time. Why do it still got vans? I thought we got a contract for the ProMasters, for Dodge. So why do people still got vans? Fast forward, not everyone has the ProMasters. Yet we signed another contract for the new vehicle that didn't go through, kind of, sort of, but then another contract popped up for the new vehicle that they call it a duck vehicle. That's actually in some places now, right? The last message I seen and that came across was there's 24,000 of these vehicles around somewhere in the United States. That's not in necessarily a city or a state, just in the United States. Who got them? I don't know. From my understanding, a lot of them down south. A lot of them are down south. I don't know. Right. But now we got another contract, and all these contracts be billions of dollars for another vehicle that who has? Who has? Right? But you know who making these deals? Management. It's mismanaging its own funds, its own money. It's mismanaging its personnel, its routes. It's mismanaging the resources, items that it needs to purchase for its actual workers. It's mismanaging all that. But then behind the scenes attempted to make it look like it's the craft employees that's messing it up because they don't want to be responsible when things hit the fan. I'm going to try not to curse. All right. Because I need this to get out there as much as possible, as far as possible. So if you are listening to this and watch this, make sure to hit that share button. Share it to your Facebook group. Share it to the USPS community group on Facebook. Share it to your the Reddit groups. Share it everywhere. Share it on your Facebook. Just share the video, okay, to get the information out there. But because they also behind the scenes of a lot of things, they don't get the blame because the people who the victims of things that's going on and not getting their mail or not getting their packages, looking for this, looking for that, they don't know the people behind the scenes. You know who they do know? The local mail carrier. They do know the clerks that's at the counter at their local post office. They do know the local supervisor and local manager who not going to tell them of the mismanaging that's happening. You get what I'm saying? So now this is a dilemma that the post office is in and why it's going to keep burning money. It's going to keep being on a decline. It's going to keep all of this because really management should be fired. management don't know how to manage. A lot of supervisors that I've come across don't know how to supervise. A lot of managers I come across do not know how to manage. I don't know what training they supposed to get, where they came from, what their background was. I do know we promote in-house. So everybody that's a supervisor or a manager on up was a craft employee at some point in time, meaning they was a carrier or a clerk or a mail handler or a truck driver or something at one point in time, right? That don't mean that person should be there. I remember being told that the only thing that counts to be in management or to get promoted to management from a craft is attendance. So as long as you had good attendance, you could become a supervisor. As long as you had good attendance, then that supervisor can become a manager. As long as you had good attendance, that manager could become a CSOM, right? On up the chain. But that don't mean that person was a good employee. That don't mean that person knew what they was doing or was a good worker. They could have been trash, but because they showed up, they can be promoted. And that makes sense to someone. Not that he was a good supervisor or she was a good manager, not because they was very informative and they knew their job and they knew what they was doing and they could help others, and none of that. Only because they came to work. They could have got help the whole time they came to work. Helped by other people the whole time. But because they was there every day or most days, they could get promoted. So now we have people getting promoted that don't know their jobs, that don't know how to supervise, that don't know how to manage, that don't know how to be an OIC or a manager's manager or a manager of customer service, that don't know how to do these things. And they're the ones that's running the system. The same people, right? And I'm not talking about every single one of them, but I'm definitely talking about most of them. I can't say I'm talking about every last one of them because I don't know every last one of them. But out of the ones I do know, majority don't know what they're doing. Majority don't know what they're doing. My personal opinion. Right? With that said, matter of fact, hold on. We're going to hit y'all with this right quick. Take this.
Where we share my personal experiences as employees with the USPS and NALC. The opinions, stories, and insights expressed in this video are solely our own, based on our individual knowledge and experiences, and do not represent the USPS, the NALC, or any other organization. This content is for entertainment, informational, and discussion purposes only. Viewers are encouraged to consult qualified professionals for advice tailored to their situations. I am exercising my rights to free speech under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. While I strive for accuracy based on my experiences, I make no guarantees regarding the completeness or timeliness of the information shared. Viewer discretion is advised, and any actions taken based on this content are at your own risk. If you enjoy the video, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive in.
There we go. I had to do that for them. You know what I'm saying? They be in here. They be around. You know what I'm saying? Paying attention, which they should be paying attention, right? I'm not hiding. I be here, right? They've been invited. Multiple of them been invited. Now I do know that a lot of them not gonna show up because it's hard for them to speak their actual opinions, right? Now management is in a different situation where they can't say a lot of things that come off like they're saying it on behalf of the post office, but they can show up and give their actual opinions, right? As long as it's stated that. Is why the disclaimer is up there for everyone that comes through, right? It's a protection for everyone that comes through, that everything is your opinion based on your experience, right? No one's talking on behalf of the post office or the NALC. Okay? Cool. Freedom of speech, right? Constitution. So with that, I feel like the craft we gotta protect ourselves, man. Right? In doing so, a lot of stuff not gonna get done. Right? And if your customers have a complaint about that, let the customers know what's going on. Let them know who they can contact. Let them know who's responsible. This is my supervisor. This is my manager. This is my CSIM. This is my OIC/postmaster. Okay? This is their names. Whenever the new state elections come up, talk to the governor, talk to the mayor, talk to whoever you need to talk to just to get your gripes out, because there ain't nothing that I can do. Right? And they running from the union and running from responsibility of paying their grievances and things like that. So it's hard to hold someone accountable that's running. Now, I am gonna you know what? Maybe I'll do that next video. Right? There's some things I was gonna go over for some things that that in reading says that the union can do, like different types of lawsuits and things like that, if the system breaks down and they're not doing it or whatchamacallit. But we'll put that in its own video because we already have 50 minutes and I only want to do like an hour. Okay. But me personally, I believe that the mismanaging is happening because people are stealing money. They're getting money on the false pretenses. To me, that's stealing. My personal opinion, that's stealing. Okay. I like telling a lady who want to pay me $20 to rake her leaves. I go back to the door, say, "Hey, I finished it." And she said, "Oh, well, I can't come out right now. So here go the $20 and give me the $20 and I run off with you. Go out there, her leaves not raked." I stole that money. Right? We had a deal. I stole that money though. Right? Mic check. Mic. Okay. I stole that money. So to me, management in that way is stealing money. Now, I'm not saying the supervisors are directly responsible or your managers are directly responsible. Managers could know what's going on and they're just complying in what's going on. Supervisors can know what's going on and they're just complying in doing so. Right? It could be coming from the people above them. Could be coming from the manager. Could be coming from the manager's manager. Could be coming from the manager's manager's manager, which is the postmaster. Could be coming from the manager's 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 manager, who would be your district manager. Right? Could be coming. Maybe it's coming from even higher than that and coming from Big Brother Post Office, because from the word is it's happening nationwide. Right? So this could just be what it is. Maybe management realized that the post office is going down. Instead of helping to fix it, they say or think that they just gonna get as much money in bonuses as they can and then create the sinking ship. Like, it's not really a sinking ship, but they're creating it to be a sinking ship. Right? But let me know what y'all think about that, man. Why do you believe? Leave comments in the comment section below. Why do you think that they're still mismanaging now, or that we're mismanaging so much now at the post office? Okay, let me know why you think so. Let me know what you believe the solutions is or should be. Okay, I'm going to tackle those questions hopefully in the next video, where I will talk about things that they're looking up online. Right. So I'll give you a disclaimer, right? I went and used AI. I had AI scrape the NALC website, the APWU website, and I had it scrape the National Relations Labor Board website of all information pertaining to grievances, the grievance process, arbitration, and everything in the national agreement, right? And I asked it specific questions on what happens when this don't work. What's the next step? What happens when that don't work? What's the next step based off all the research and documentations given? What's the next step? Also, search all case logs and case files, right? So I got a lot of information that say some things supposed to be going to the district court, the U.S. District Court, and all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So again, leave your comment section. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Leave your opinions in the comment section below. Make sure you hit that follow. If you watching me on Twitch, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you watching me on YouTube, okay. And we're going to address your concerns, or just if you have any questions for informational purposes, right? If you want to know anything about the grievance process, about management, or why this, that, another happens, you know what I'm saying? I'm a person that's been on both sides. I've been on and off the desk. And I'm still a carrier at the post office currently, if you didn't know. Okay, so leave that in the comment section below. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you find this in good standing. I hope you have a great year, a new year, a peaceful year, a more productive year than the last year. Do not let management harass you at this particular point, right? With how the grievance process is broken down. I tell a lot of people I don't file grievances, but I will file an EEO. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on everything that you're doing. Make sure you go look up the EEO. I got past videos on EEOs, what they're for, how they work, this, that, and the other. And I file EEOs when I feel like it's necessary. By the time you create a hostile work environment, or you harassing me, or some type of discrimination takes place, excuse me, I'm filing the EEO, and we're going to stop that right then and there. That's how I operate. I'm not really a grievance filer, right? There is some I done filed or just told, made the union steward aware of and things like that, but I'm not really a grievance filer because right now they're trying to ignore the grievance and not settle them. So what is it really going to do, right? People are like, hey, man, but you got the grievance, you're going to get, you know what I'm saying, this is going to be extra pay if it's a monetary value. Okay, but when is that going to happen? So I'm not counting on it to stop things that should be stopped, right? I'm going to count on the EEO to stop it right here because I don't have to worry about a grievance process and the settlement to get that stopped. When it comes to discrimination and harassment and hostile work environment, favoritism and bias, all falls on the EEO. With that said, again, leave your comments in the comment section below. Hit that follow, hit that subscribe button. Everything that you do is connected to the live. So when we do have a new follower, when we do have a new subscriber, it will show up on the screen live when we do the lives. If you got comments, they will pop up in the comment section. If you have donations and things like that, they will pop up on the screen during the live as well, and I will shout you out. Okay? Appreciate y'all. Have a good one. Stay out of trouble. And I'm out, man. But share this before I'm out. Share it. Share it. Share it. Okay? It's the only way we're going to grow and get the information out there. Right? We got to count on ourselves. So share it. Now I'm out.